You are getting ready to listen to the voice of Dr. Rhadi Ferguson, 2004 Olympian, four-time national judo champion, Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, author, speaker, and coach.
Hey, what's going on? This is Dr. Rhadi Ferguson, and welcome to another edition of Coffee with Rhadi. Now, in this edition of Coffee with Rhadi, I want to tell you something that's really exciting. I have on the phone with me in a conversation three-time Olympian, world champion, two-time Olympic silver medalist Terrence. And I'm having a problem inside of the dojo, and I'm really exhausted in terms of finding a method or a modality to train this young lady inside my dojo. I don't know exactly how to encourage her through a space and a place that I talked to Terrence about. And I told him I was going to record the phone conversation because I looked to him for some advice. In the world-class space, there's a pecking order. Like, we're all Olympians, but in the pecking order of Olympians, you have your Olympic medalists, then you have your gold medalists, and then you have multiple-time Olympians and multiple-time Olympic medalists. And Terrence is a multiple-time Olympian, multiple-time Olympic medalist, multiple-time world champion, indoor and outdoor. He went to the University of South Carolina, is inducted to the University of South Carolina's Hall of Fame, and I think right now he's coaching high school, and he has some dude on his team that in the beginning of the year ran 10.71 in the 100 meters. He's an outstanding coach. He was on the end of his career when one of the people who went to Howard University, David Oliver, who's the head track coach at Howard University, was starting his professional career. And I look up to both of those I want to call them young men because they're still a little bit younger than me. I look up to both of those young men and what they've done in the sport of track and field. Even today, as a matter of fact, this morning, at the time that I'm talking, I called Terrence to ask him a question about what I should do with my son, and to have my son throwing the javelin. And I'm not in agreement with him throwing the javelin because when I was competing, I threw the shot put in the discus, but I also ran 2 races because I was out there for speed work because I played football. And the coach has my son throwing 3 events and only running 1. It's just not enough running. And I wanted to know how to best have that conversation with the coach while still respecting him because it's a team sport. And Terrence, he put some good things on my mind. One of them being the just the risk of just shoulder injury from just not knowing how to throw the javelin correctly. And Rufus definitely doesn't know how to throw the javelin correctly. And when Terrence said that, my son kind of nodded his head like his shoulder was hurting from this last weekend. So I was able to approach the conversation respectfully with the coach, and I appreciate Terrence for that. But without any further ado, I want to let you hear a conversation that Terrence and I had. And I also want to tell you that this conversation and this edition of Coffee with Rhadi is sponsored by Judo is Life. Absolutely fantastic book that was written by me. You can go to www.judoislife.net and see how I take the 10As and the philosophical practices and approaches that we have in judo and apply them to make my life better, and how you can use them to make your life better too. So thank you so much, and welcome to this particular edition of Coffee with Rhadi. So, real question. I have an athlete that technically she's good. She is not able to push. I'm not just talking about the regular pain. I mean, you know how when you run in, they say you're running 500 repeats, okay? Or 400 repeats. And you get to that point where you just feel like you can't run no more. And instead of gearing down, you got that mechanism in your mind that tells you to push into it.
Right.
I don't know how to coach her to push her into that space, because every time she gets there, when we're doing repeats on the Aerodyne bike, as soon as it hurts, she just shuts down or she just stops. Like, she's not able to push through that. I don't know what that's called, and I'm having such a problem with it, dog, because I just never did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm figuring since you coach high school, you had to work some kids through this space.
Right.
I don't know what that space is called. I have no clue what it's called. I know, in wrestling or judo, we call it the grind, and we play around in track, talk about rigor mortis or the monkey jumping on your back. But I'm not talking about the feeling. I'm talking about the behavioral mechanism of running into the fire. Like, how do you coach somebody to run into the death?
They changing themselves to. This what I tell my kids. This is the point where humans become superheroes.
Damn.
Because every time they get to that point, they shedding off that side, that limitation side. Now they becoming superhuman. That's what I tell them. So when you look at these cartoons or these shows or these movies now, where these people are, defying death, or they can move something just by, looking at it, doing that, telepathic stuff or whatever the case may be. They had to get it from somewhere. So they show sometimes these superheroes go through these very dramatic situations. They show them where the serum or something got in their system, and they had they went through
the Genesis story, the Genesis story, right.
But they never show that long term. They only show that for a few minutes, and then the next thing you know, bam, they superhero. Gotta let them understand that part that they see in the movie is the most important part. That's how they become the superhero.
So you got to talk to them about basically they have to constantly kill off that part of themselves so they can get the new growth.
Yep.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is.
I think that will resonate with kids a lot more. I didn't know what to say, and you need the right words at the right. And listen, I was going through and I was like, who can I call about this? I was going through in the dojo because I was literally. So you go from I ain't no perfect coach. I'm a good coach. I ain't no perfect coach. So you go from encouraging, pushing, hollering, cussing, berating, and then you get to the point where it's a damn shame that you down here like. It's a damn shame you got all this damn talent, and because you're trying to find
something that's
you're trying to find something that sticks. You're like, let me use this one. I'm gonna use this one. I'm gonna use this one. And then it hit me. I was like, man, you don't have it. Like, listen, when you trying to build something, and you got a hammer, screwdriver, Phillips head, all these different diagonals and pliers. You got all this here, but you need an Allen wrench. It don't matter how many tools you got if you ain't got no damn Allen wrench.
Yep.
And I said, let me call somebody who I know got an Allen wrench for this situation. Because it's as much as it's the same, all the sports are the same, they still have the differences. And what she was doing, so when there's somebody in front of you on the mat, the possibility of getting hurt will make you understand what I'm saying? Like somebody taking their elbow and putting your eye socket or rubbing their forearm across your face, it will make you react.
Right.
But that's a low level of functioning when it comes to being an elite athlete. You got to be able to do that in the gym by yourself when nobody else is around. Like, yeah, we all have practices and we have coaches, but we all have practices when we ain't no coach there. And you got to make the time, make the number, hit the thing, lift the weight, do the reps. And when it's a set of 10, it ain't no I did 6 and then I stopped and then I did 4 more. That's a non-set.
Right.
That's a warm-up set of 6 and a warm-up set of 4. That's not a
not a set of
It's
10.
not a set of, right. It's not a set of 10, which is on the paper. So I was like, how do I get her to do this by herself, to hit these numbers on this bike by herself? And like, you can't go through self-talk, and because she told me, I was telling myself that I can do it, and then when my legs started burning, I didn't do it.
Right. Yeah. That's how effective that is.
Exactly. Like, people can tell you all that self-talk. Self-talk has its validity, but it ain't. It's not the whole thing. It's not the whole piece.
Yeah. I think the big thing, like, because these kids now, they gravitate to that. They gravitate to what's grandiose. They gravitate to
the larger than life. The Kardashian type of thing.
Right.
So what's ever gonna make them the next big thing for them? That's why it was so poignant that you talked about. This is what will make you superhuman.
But that's what we used to say all the time.
Yeah.
I had a workout one time when I got with Coach Page, and when I got with Coach Page, I had already had both my Olympic medals. I'm going for number 3, and trying to get me a couple of world championships along the way. And he put this workout on us one time, man. I could not see when I was finished.
That's it, there, because the sugar get low. You can't. Yeah, dog. Your eyesight goes.
It took me 30 minutes to walk from the finish line down to where the start line of the 100 meters was, because that's where my clothes were. It took me 30 minutes. And I wasn't even walking straight. I was walking at an angle. I never forgot that workout.
Yeah, those are the ones where you wish you put that little jar of honey in your bag or something. Yep. Because listen, I done had the workouts where I looked in my bag and I was like, damn, I ain't bring no goo gel, I ain't bring no honey, I ain't bring no nothing. I said, well, this it's gonna be a tough one today.
Yeah. Like I tell them folks now, this ain't gonna tickle, but you get the best out yourself.
I didn't say the right thing. When you tell him, when you tell him, he said, when you tell him, he said, go ahead and fess up. Go ahead and fess up. and I wasn't cussing and screaming. I told her, I said, you need to die. But that's a conversation that an adult athlete would understand.
Yep.
That's not a conversation that a kid was gonna understand.
Right.
And I didn't have the tools for that. I ain't had the tools for that.
Yep. You got to die to yourself to be a much better person.
You do, and here we know that it's actually it's a training baptismal. Like when you go train, every once in a while, some training sessions are just training sessions. They're just training sessions. You're gonna train, you're gonna get better, you're gonna train, you're gonna get better. And there's some training sessions that are baptisms.
Yep.
You're gonna go down, and when you come up, you are not going to be the same.
Yep. Whole different person.
You're gonna be a whole different person. You're gonna be a whole different person. And you got to shed the old. And they don't understand. When they dunk you underneath there, you don't come up when you get ready. No, you come up when they bring you. When they bring you, not bring.
That's right. When they bring you up.
When they bring you up, exactly.
You got to get all that up off you, up out you too.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
I got a little disciplinary workout that's like that. I call it the car wash for the very same reason. You go in one way, you come out another.
It's a disciplinary workout.
Yep. That's when they feel like they can talk when I'm talking. That's when they feel like and this is primarily football when I did this. When they feel like they can talk while I'm talking, when they feel like they can give 70% instead of the 100 I'm asking for, when they're not executing the plays,
not paying attention to detail.
Yep, not reading your keys, all that type stuff. Oh, okay. Well, guess what? Line up.
They said on the line.
Man, when I tell them juggle them 2 words right there, oh my gosh. Then they start ratting on each other. I told you.
Too late. No, too late now. Now we got to get this work in.
Yeah.
And it's really not. It's just some fine tuning. And I like the way you say it. It's not punishment. It's discipline. It's disciplinary work.
Yep.
Yeah. Because that's all it is. I'm trying to help you increase your discipline.
That's it.
Yeah. But no, man, I appreciate it, man. I don't, I don't like to call you when I need stuff like that. But man, I tell you what, coaches need some coaching up too.
Hey man, I'm talking as I am, bro.
I appreciate you, dog. I needed that. You got to bring your superhero out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Love you, dog. Appreciate it.
Love you too, team.
Damn, that was good.